It's the Frontier opening bell. The 28th of June is the Thursday. Welcome everyone to the show. Let's get on as we saw nearly all markets reopening across Frontier Africa, with the exception of a few within the North African region where Egypt remained closed for the Eid al-Adha holiday, religious holiday. Today is the end of the market week in Egypt. So technically Egypt will be reopening on Sunday. So the market remained closed with the EGX 30, trading around 26,417.6, earlier, before at the end of last week. So that's where the Egyptian market is this morning. But let's get on to the rest of the sub-Saharan African markets, with, the JSE in South Africa remaining very strong, 1.21%. And that was because the inauguration of President Cyril Ramaphosa for yet another term gave investors some vote of confidence. So the stock market was up. The rand was also up on the dollar at about 18 to 1. International bonds of South Africa was also rallying on Tuesday and through to Wednesday as well. So it's all done and dusted. Cyril Ramaphosa continues as president in South Africa with some form of a unity form of government being put together. It's still early days to see the full structure of the new administration in Pretoria and what that means for the economic future of Africa's most advanced economy. Look at the top of the table with Nigerian market starting the rest of the week, taking Monday, Tuesday off for the Muslim holiday, starting Wednesday on the downside, about 0.1%. The shares of UBA, MTN, and a few other big names were priced downwards. Yesterday, FirstBank of Nigeria announced its confirmed Alebiosu as the substantive full-time managing director and CEO of the oldest Nigerian commercial bank, while Ebong was also confirmed as the deputy managing director of FirstBank of Nigeria Limited, which recently signed $200 million deal with Afreximbank at the just concluded 2024 annual meetings of Afreximbank in the Bahamas. In the Côte d'Ivoire, that's the for the regional French-speaking West Africa exchange. That was roughly flatty 0.04% in the red, 228.27 on the composite. The Nairobi stock market was better by about 0.25%, 113.49, as we saw reactions to the new Finance Act being protested by Kenyans on the streets of the parliament, protesting some provisions of the new Finance Act. It's been a long way coming for the new bill for 2024 that President Ruto's administration has placed on the table. Let's get on to West Africa now in more details and give you some of the highlights of the headlines within that particular region. Of course, you know, the whole Finance Act in Kenya is in everybody's eyes. But of course, got 25% excess duty on vegetable oil to be scrapped. Part of the concessions the government is making vis-a-vis other VAT that is being introduced on fuel and a few other things, bread and all of that. It's all a lot of tough work right now as far as the new Finance Act is concerned. In Tanzania, Tanzania's NSSF has launched the construction of 22. Actually, the 22-story building is in Nairobi, and it's been put together between the Kenya's NSSF and the Tanzania Foreign Ministry. It's a twin towers that will be an iconic part of the landscape of the city of Nairobi. It's been put together. The construction sketching are underway, and Uganda's intra-Africa trade value is about 192 billion US dollars according to latest data, while Tanzania is attracting about 2.8, roughly $3 billion annually due to its relationship with the United States. President Samia Suluhu Hassan is walking the talk, as it were, since she became president just about 2 years ago. And Tanzania's central bank says it sold about $155 million to local banks in FX in the week. That takes you to West Africa. Let's get a couple of headlines over there with the FirstBank story, the confirmation of the managing director and the deputy CEO being fully confirmed. Now they're going to drive the new horizon for FirstBank of Nigeria moving forward with the whole exercise of a rights issue are being put together by the bank to meet the new capital requirements stipulated by the central bank over the next 2-year period. In the meantime, Nigeria's inflation data came in during the public holiday, and that's at about 33.95%. Now, the statistics office says its forecast for the current month will be tapering slightly to 33.90%. We've got a couple of weeks to see how that paces out. And in the Nigerian upstream petroleum sector regulator, the AUPRC, says it's offering additional 17 deep offshore oil blocks for sale under the current auction that is being conducted, a first and major one under the Tinubu's administration. And good news, as Ghana's economy posted 4.7% growth in the first quarter, despite the tough economic situation in the country. The industrial sector grew 6.8%, very unprecedented, the highest single the highest quarter single jump over the last 5 years. Is the biggest jump that we've seen in the industrial sector. Ghana recently secured some relief, as it were, in terms of debt with both international and local bond holders, and that's given a bit of a breather to the administration of President Nana Akufo-Addo. And then still in Ghana, cocoa sector posted a negative growth of 20.2% last year. Those are the headlines from West Africa. Let's push it all the way down to Southern Africa. President Cyril Ramaphosa is still on his seat as the president in South Africa. The market gave a vote of confidence on Wednesday on that. The SARB, however, the central bank, is looking to maintain its rates pause as inflation holds it a little bit steady. The target by the Reserve Bank in South Africa was about 4.5% on inflation, headline inflation, as it were. Zambia, as a cabinet, has approved the issuance of 2 new Euro bonds, A and B, which will be on the market, and appointed Goldman Sachs as the book runner for that particular deal, after Zambia also recently, under President Hichilema, secured a deal with bondholders, international bondholders as well. And Zimbabwe has formally launched plan to join BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Of course, they've got a whole more number of countries joining. So the BRICS acronym stands for the founding members of the new world economic powerhouse that these 5 countries are spearheading, and they're getting more members almost on a daily basis. The Bank of Namibia on Thursday decided to hold interest rates unchanged at 7.75%. Let's look into North Africa, where the markets are slightly waking up from the other religious holiday. So the merchandise exports in Egypt, the biggest economy in that region, was up 9.8% between January and May. Those are the first 5 months of the current year. While Tunisia says the dam's filling is about 31.5%. As at the June the 14th. Chevron, the American energy giant, says it's got an MOU for hydrocarbon development in Algeria. That's a substantial investment coming into the administration there in Algiers. And Italy is looking to invest $320 million in Angola's Lobito corridor. That's the corridor that is being put together as a highway that will help Angola, which is an oil-producing and basically extractive country, with hydrocarbon be among the top oil and gas producer on the African continent. Those are your headlines. This Thursday, let's leave it there until tomorrow, Friday, as we wrap up the current business and market week. I am Bosun Amafai. Have a great day, everyone.